Imagine living over 20 of almost 30 years of your life being the youngest person in the room. And one day you wake up and you are no longer the youngest person in the room. When did all that time go by? What happened? And how do I feel about that? Let's talk about it on this episode of the podcast. About 5 years ago, I wrote something in my drafts. I never published it, about how almost every year I have a quote-unquote quarter life crisis, usually predicated by an upcoming birthday. This is what happens to you when you have always been called an overachiever, a precocious child, always above, always at the top of your class, always the youngest in the room, always talked about like you are the best thing since sliced bread, which, to be fair, I am the best thing since sliced bread. And sliced bread is the best thing, honestly, but I digress. But yeah, the older you get, the less weighty your achievements seem to be. It's something to be the youngest person to do XYZ when you're 10, and then when you're 20, it doesn't matter anymore. Over the years, I've often vacillated between moments of extreme self-confidence that almost borders on narcissism, and the sense that I'm actually not doing anything with my life and time is just flying by, and there are 10-year-old kids doing great things and investing things, and I'm just here working on a computer doing God knows what. I've also always been in a hurry to do things. I wanted to go to uni when I was younger. I wanted to be the youngest person to do this and that, and so many things that realistically were probably very ridiculous of me to think that I could actually do them. But everyone is so obsessed with being the youngest person to do this and the youngest person to do that, and being on Times Young 100 list, and being on the Forbes 30 under 30, and even in the under 30 under 30, you're always looking at the 10-year-olds and the 12-year-olds, and imagine me at my big age comparing myself to a 10-year-old child. That is so dumb. There's also the daily mundane things where you see like teen inventors and teen innovators, and you see 10-year-olds who finished PhDs in mathematics and all these things, and you think about it so much, but you don't realize that those are outliers. Those are actually outliers in life. Like, not everybody is going to be a PhD at 10. I don't know why I'm fixated on 10 years old, but yeah, like, and when you're young, it seems possible to be the youngest person to achieve something, and it seems more realistic than being the oldest person too. But then at some point, it feels like being the youngest person to do something is no longer possible. Like, now I'm almost 30. I can't be the youngest person to do. There are so many things that I can no longer be the youngest person to do because other people have done them when they were 10, 11, 12. And now I'm almost 30. Like, it's not possible. And I can't just sit on my hands waiting around to be 70 years old before I do something so I can be the oldest person to do it. That's also very dumb. So now, you can't be the youngest person to X, and you can't be the oldest person to Y. So what do? You are just there in the middle, wondering about your achievements and what society says about your worth because you didn't make the 30 on that 30 list, and next year you're going to turn 30. Well, I'm not turning 30 next year. I still have some time to make the 30 on that 30 list. I kid and I digress. I'm actually fortunate to be surrounded by friends from various age groups. Some are twice my age, but some are younger than me, and it feels weird to say because I've always been the youngest person. I've always been the youngest friend, and now I have friends that are younger than me by like 10 years, and it's wild, incredibly wild to me, because in my head I'm 16 years old, and I am not joking. And a lot of the time I'm thinking about people who are doing the work that I'm doing and have done papers and published things and done all these amazing things. And I was reading somebody's newsletter a couple of days ago, and I realized that this person has been doing this work since before I was born. Like, literally before I was born, they have been working in this field. How can I be comparing myself to somebody who has been doing the work I'm doing since before I was born? That is also a dumb thing to do. And I remember that I have time. I'm young. I can do all these things I want to do. But then in my general tendency to be impatient about everything in life, I'm always like, but I can still also do it. I don't have to wait till the years of my life have reached the years of this person's life to do the amazing things. And when I wrote this article or draft that I never published, I was 23. And I thought I was running out of time, which is such a dumb thing. Like, I was 23. if I pick, how can I pick at 23? Like, it's just another opportunity to reinvest myself and do something new and try something new and move into a new field. People change careers in their 40s, 50s, 60s and go on to do amazing things. And even if you don't do amazing things, what does it matter? As long as you're putting in the best effort that you can into everything that you do, you don't have to build the next spaceship or the next generation airplane. You can just be a great person to the people who are in contact with you 90% of your life and be the best version of yourself that you can be. When I look back at myself from 5 years ago and compare myself to now, I don't really feel that time is running away from me. I'm not achieving anything vibe anymore. I no longer care about being the youngest to do anything. You can say that it's because I can't be the youngest to do anything anymore. But it doesn't matter why I no longer care. I no longer care. And what I care about is being the best version of myself and putting the best of my efforts into what I am doing, and understanding that appearing on the Forbes list is not the greatest thing that you can do in your life, or appearing on whatever other kind of list. What matters is, like this Martin Luther King quote, not the civil rights Martin Luther King, the first Martin Luther King that my mother used to say all the time when I was younger. Be such a great, if you are a street sweeper, be such a great street sweeper that the angels in heaven will be like, wow, what an amazing street sweeper. That's not the quote, but that's the gist of the quote. You get the point. And that is where I'll leave you today. It doesn't matter if you are on whatever list or not. What really matters is doing the best that you can and putting in your best efforts into everything that you do, especially to the people in your life. At the end of the day, your company that you work for might fold, and even if it doesn't fold, like, it doesn't really matter. The people who are in your life are what matter the most, and you should always try to prioritize people over businesses and whatever, because businesses don't care about you, but people do. This was not supposed to end on a depressing note, but I hope it wasn't depressing. And yeah, don't worry about lists and things. Worry about your life and the future. Well, don't worry about the future. Like, don't worry. Words are failing me tonight, but don't worry about the future in the sense that, oh my God, what's the future going to be like? But think about how you can contribute to the best version of yourself, that the future you'll be proud of past you, whether you make whatever list or not. Bye. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of A Couple of Things. If you enjoyed this episode or found any part of it insightful, don't forget to share with your friends on your social media, and be sure to leave a comment or a review if you can on your podcast listening app. Thank you.